What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. There's a lot of things to get into. Didn't realize I was muted there. That's okay. Get fixed quick. Marvin Harrison Jr., breakout season. Darius Robinson right there behind him. Let's talk all things Cardinals training camp, defensive and offensive. Let's do it next.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like callus. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the new schedule that is the Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. There's a lot of things to get into. It's an all Arizona Cardinals training camp show. Because I missed last week and took a little bit of time off when training camp started, I believe on Wednesday, I wanted to take some time to collect both of my thoughts, both defensive and offensive, because I genuinely believe that the Arizona Cardinals might have two guys this year that are on the verge of breaking out. Before we get there, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the stream, to the show. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Appreciate you guys continuously making this a part of your Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine at 7 a.m. So as mentioned before, it's an all Arizona Cardinals show. I haven't gotten the chance to talk a lot of Cardinals training camp. I've done a little bit, but Cardinals training camp is literally halfway done now, and I haven't had the chance to give my full assessment on what I believe the Cardinals are going to do next year. So it's going to be a little bit of a more structured show instead of just a little bit of free thinking. But let's start here. A couple of days ago at this point, last week when it initially happened, but we weren't on the air, Walter Nolen went down. And when that happened, I felt like the Cardinals defensive line took a huge blow. It wasn't Jordan Birch. It wasn't Baron Browning, who's also starting to look good in camp. It wasn't players of that nature where you weren't asking them to come in and save the position. I know there's this argument to be made that is Walter Nolen there to save the position? Is Walter Nolen just there to be a piece of the defensive pie, especially on the pass rushing side of things? And that's not really where I landed. I felt like when you spend a first round pick on someone like Walter Nolen, you expect him to come in and not be dominant right away. This is a rookie we're talking about, but someone that gives you solid defensive line snaps. And when he went down, it felt like there was a lot of pressure on Darius Robinson to really seize the moment and be the first round pick that we expected last year. However, you were concerned about what that jump would look like because he only played 6 games last year and didn't necessarily fill up the stat sheet when he did so. I believe his first game of the season was against the Vikings last year in like week 11, week 12, and that just wasn't good enough for him. But now you've seen now you see what Darius Robinson has done since the Walter Nolen injury and even before then. And I kind of feel a little dumb. I don't know why I overreacted to the Walter Nolen thing. It's not like he's out for the year. It's a calf injury that's going to keep him out a significant amount of time, just because I look at the Darius Robinson injury from last year and I feel the exact same way. Let's go from this angle. I haven't been at training camp this year. It's just really tough to do while working a 9-to-5 job, doing this, Locked On Suns and the Locked On Cardinals squad show. I would still be there if it was possible, but it's probably just not going to happen this year. However, and that being on the training camp sidelines, maybe I show up as a fan, and if that's the case, come say what's up, come say hi. You guys have been doing that in bunches recently, and it's really cool. I would love to sit there and talk with you guys. So if you see me out in that sort of public space, let me know. However, Darius Robinson, from my time at training camp last year, one of the reasons why it sucks to miss training camp as a media member standing on the sidelines is because there's that scuttlebutt on the sidelines. You're able to pick the brains of other media members, and you all are using not just your own eyes, but the collective eyes of the media to look at the players and be like, oh, that guy can't play. Oh, that guy could. Like last year, the talk on the sidelines with my guys, Donnie Druin, Bo Brock, Tyler Drake, all those guys. It was, wow, Trey Benson looks a little lost. Wow, Desmond Ridder looks awful. And damn, Darius Robinson looks really good. And now in year 2, things have kind of changed. Trey Benson has looked really good, or ever since like week 10 of last year. But that's not the point. Darius Robinson already looked like a Herculean athlete, moving guys out of the way as a youngster, as a rookie. And then you saw the OTAs, the minicamp, the pictures of Darius Robinson coming into camp, and he looks like a completely different person, a transformed body. He looks like a Greek god. And now he's moving guys away at will. Yesterday on the Cardinals squad show that we do at 6 p.m. Tuesday and Thursdays, Jamil Douglas, former offensive lineman in the NFL, had mentioned, well, it takes a little bit of time for offensive linemen to get their feet under them. You cannot simulate real NFL snaps. But still, I'm watching Darius Robinson push guys like Yoda Froholt and Isaiah Adams and Evan Brown, all, at least Evan Brown and Yoda Froholt, we know are solid offensive linemen, and that being the case with Isaiah Adams as well. And it got me thinking, man, is the offensive line in trouble? That's how good Darius Robinson has looked over the last couple of weeks. And that's exactly where you want to see Darius Robinson be. And then it got me thinking to this point. I was someone who kept on talking about the Cardinals need to go out and go get Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, Mason Crosby, Max Crosby. Whenever there was a big name guy, TJ Watt, the Cardinals need to go get that guy, because I felt like the only thing the Cardinals defense was missing was that blue chip pass rusher that could get to the quarterback at will. But you're seeing how well Darius Robinson has been performing, and you say to yourself, well, maybe Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon didn't want to go get Max Crosby or TJ Watt or Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, because they felt like, you guys think we need that guy, but we know we don't. We saw what we had in Darius Robinson last year, and the defensive line would have been a lot better from weeks 1 through 11 and then 11 through 17 if Darius Robinson was fully healthy and had his feet under him. They knew that. Last year, all the media members kept on asking and peppering questions to Jonathan Gannon. Hey, what are you going to do about the pass rush? Hey, what are you going to do about the pass rush? And JG said, you guys think it's a problem. We don't. And by that point, they had Darius Robinson and BJ Ojolari. So things would have looked a little different. And so now I say to myself, what if trading for Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons and TJ Watt and Max Crosby when they were available, what if that would have always been a mistake and Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon both knew that? What if Darius Robinson is this team's blue chip pass rusher? And you look at the statistics, you look at what he's doing in training camp, and you say to yourself, you can line him up kind of anywhere. He's more of an interior pass rusher, although he did rush on the outside in Missouri as well. But you say to yourself, could he be the blue chip pass rusher the Cardinals need? And if Darius Robinson is even 3/4 of a blue chip pass rusher, you are talking about the Cardinals defense being a top 5 defense in the NFL. Because that's the only thing this defense is missing. Someone that can get to the quarterback at will 11.5+ times a year. Someone that the opposing offense has to call out and say, we have to block, we have to throw a chip his way, or double team this guy, or knock him on his ass with the running back coming out of the backfield. Again, a chip. If they have that guy, and I think there's a real possibility and an argument to say they do, the Cardinals are going to have a top 5 defense this year. Even with the loss of Starling Thomas, you still feel good about Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, who now potentially could be on the outside as well. You can run more 3 safety sets if because Starling Thomas is out for the year. You can run Rabbit Taylor Demerson out there, or Robert Taylor Demerson and Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson out there in 3 safety sets, Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, and then you just have a revolving door of pass rushers. A lot of the season defensively does rest on the shoulders of Darius Robinson. You continue to forget that he was a first-round pick for the Cardinals, but he was so overshadowed by Marvin Harrison Jr. being the 4th overall pick that you just assume that he was a later round guy. He can change everything for the Cardinals defensively. If opposing offenses need to scheme up a way to take him out of games, that is just going to benefit Josh Sweat, Baron Browning, who's looked really good in camp, Jordan Birch, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Walter Nolan when he comes back. And then if the Cardinals go from a top half pass rush in the NFL to a top 12 pass rush in the NFL, combined with the fact that they have one of the better secondaries in the NFL, the defense is going to do exactly what it did last year, and it's going to be carry the offense, led by a guy in Darius Robinson. And you look at some of the blue chip guys that I wanted before, Max Crosby and Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson and TJ Watt. It would have been a mistake to go get those guys, give up valuable draft capital when you feel like you already have him in Darius Robinson, who's versatile, can rush the inside, can rush the outside, and he genuinely is the straw that stirs the drink of the Cardinals defense. Here is my second take from Cardinals training camp, and that was this. I have been someone who's been skeptical of Marvin Harrison Jr., who I just mentioned a second ago, and I think part of that comes with the fact that right now, I feel like I was right in saying you should go draft Joe Alt over Marvin Harrison Jr. And the reasoning why I say that is because the Cardinals could have had an opportunity to go get a blue chip left tackle while they already have the right tackle of the future in Paris Johnson Jr. And I was a little skeptical at the time, the fit of the right tackle position going to the left tackle position for Paris Johnson Jr. because he was so good at the alternative being the right tackle. But that was null and void when they moved him over to left tackle, and you're like, oh, he's really awesome there as well. So although Marvin Harrison Jr., I feel like I was still right for now, and I want to be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, and I think I'm actually going to be wrong once you hear the rest of this take, is Joe Alt right now is the better player. And it would have been the better fit for the Cardinals because you can get wide receivers anywhere. And the one thing that I kept on saying last year at training camp, it feels validating to me because I have these takes. I can't bounce them off anyone. It's called the Ben Garcia Show because I'm the writer, producer, editor, social media content manager, script writer, and content manager. I do everything. So it's hard for me when I'm coming up with these takes to bounce them off someone and say, hey, does this sound crazy? Am I being weird here? But I continue to feel validated because I find myself seeing around corners. And with Marvin Harrison Jr., it's interesting because last year when I saw him at training camp, I saw the talent, the raw potential, and my standards were just higher for Marvin Harrison Jr. than they were for anyone else because I believe if you draft someone with the 4th overall pick, they need to be in the tier 1 echelon of wide receivers. But the one thing that I felt like Marvin Harrison Jr. lacked was this: confidence. That do-it-all, cocky mentality that MHJ lacked. He was someone that would go onto the field and not act like he owned it. It felt like he was in third gear and just coasting there, knowing he was still good. He was never a bust. He's not a bust. That's ridiculous for anyone to say he was. However, Marvin Harrison Jr., being the guy that can go up and get 50-50 balls and turn those into 70-30 balls, I'm starting to buy into it. And here's why. After Marvin Harrison Jr., or I guess I should say, Marvin Harrison Jr. is turning heads at camp. One-handed catches, back shoulder throws, him and Will Johnson are battling. And yeah, Will Johnson's got the best of him once or twice, but for the most part, from the highlights, Marvin Harrison Jr. is dominating not just Will Johnson, but everyone on the Cardinals secondary. And that makes you feel even more excited because the Cardinals got a top 10 secondary, top 8 secondary, top 7 secondary in the NFL. And he's just taking the ball away from guys. And I felt validated because the one thing that I felt like was missing from Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game, or I guess I should say, the one thing that was missing from Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game is the Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, just bleep you, give me the ball, Steve Smith mentality, you can't cover me. It felt like Marvin Harrison Jr. last year was a little bit in a shell, a little too reserved, playing the Larry Fitzgerald, Marvin Harrison Sr. card of I'm just going to come out and ball. But I felt like he needed that instilled almost artificial confidence. And what did Kyler Murray say to the media the other day? They asked him, what is the biggest change to Marvin Harrison Jr. from year 1 to year 2 in your eyes? He didn't say, oh, he's really strong now. He didn't say crisper routes. He didn't say any of that. You know what he said? He said confidence. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Right over here. This is what I've been talking about. I've seen a different Marvin Harrison Jr. at camp this year in year 2 than I did in year 1. He's turning into the bleep you, every ball is mine, Will Johnson, I'm going to sun you, Buda Baker, come here so I can dunk on you, wide receiver. He's mossing dudes. Every 5 seconds, you can't put your phone down because a new Marvin Harrison Jr. highlight just dropped. Now, it is up to Kyler Murray to get him the ball. And I believe Kyler Murray can do that. He just needs to be more consistent doing it. But if we're talking about a team that is led by Marvin Harrison Jr. offensively catching the football and not Trey McBride, who's still going to get his, you're talking about a 12-win, 13-win, conference championship appearance football team. Marvin Harrison Jr., similar to Darius Robinson, who's going to make that defense go, is the key piece that is going to make this offense go. That's what Marv does. He is a superbly gifted athlete. He is going to bring in 1,450 yards, 10 touchdowns this year, launching him into the conversations of he's better than Malik Neighbors. He's better than Brian Thomas Jr. And what I've seen from him has been absolutely impeccable. The jump that we were hoping to see, the bleep you mentality from year 1 to year 2 is evident. And I was the only person last year who did not lie to you about Marvin Harrison Jr. I felt like Joe Alt should have been the pick. And to this point, I think I've been right. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, no one's getting past those two guys. However, there's a chance I might be wrong, and I'm rooting for it. There's no reason to root for Marvin Harrison Jr. to be bad. But if Marv is a bona fide number 1, tier 1 wide receiver like he was drafted to be, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, this Cardinals team is launching into superstardom over the next couple of years, even in this season, over the next couple of weeks. If Marv is that guy, you're going to talk about them being a Super Bowl hopeful but dangerous playoff team. And I don't lie to you. I was right on this. I've been right on a few things. Marv is showing that bleep you confidence that we needed to see. Here's one thing, though, that has concerned me in training camp. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes on it. Then we'll end the show. We'll break. We'll all chew on it for a little bit. And then we'll spit it out together and see how we feel. Jonah Williams, the right tackle. This is also something I was right on. Go back. Check the tweets. Check the takes on Fox Sports 910 when I was doing radio. Jonah Williams does not look good. And Jonah Williams never looked good. He was never a premier right tackle. With the Bengals, he was considered a bust. On that Alabama offensive line coming out of the draft, he was seen to being a really good right tackle. But I told everyone, ask yourself, if Jonah Williams was good on a struggling Bengals offensive line at 25 years old that I believe he was let into free agency, why would they just let the Cardinals scoop him up? But we all just push that to the side. We say, you don't know what you're talking about. Jonah Williams is going to be good. Clayton Adams, who was the offensive line coach before, knows what he's doing. The Cardinals are going to be great, and Jonah Williams is going to fit right in. And thank God they signed Kelvin Beachum last year, because Jonah Williams went down, and when he didn't go down, he was not good. He was the weak link on the offensive line at the right tackle position, and that's not what you want to do when you have a quarterback in Kyler Murray who can miss some games. That's going to be a problem for the Cardinals. And I'm going to say it again. Thank God that they re-signed Kelvin Beachum, who's 36 years old. Older guy. But we're going to be talking about, I believe, in week 7, week 6, maybe even sooner. That Jonah Williams guy doesn't look great. He didn't look great in training camp last year. That was some of that scuttlebutt on the sidelines that I was talking about before. He didn't look great in preseason last year. I believe he played in 1 regular season game, maybe 2. I know he didn't look good in those games either. Kelvin Beachum comes in the fold and saves the position. So, all I'm saying is the Cardinals are going to have a right tackle problem. I'm not rooting for it. I don't want it to be the case. But you watch this show because sometimes I'll project things and it'll happen. Oftentimes I feel like it does. Jonah Williams has not looked good. He has not looked good. And the Cardinals need to be prepared for that on its own, because I feel like they're going to be taken by surprise when they realize Jonah Williams is going to be the weak link on this offensive line. Maybe he's not awful, but I think he's going to clearly be, out of the 5 guys on that offensive line, the worst one. And thank God they re-signed Kelvin Beachum, because we're going to be talking about starting him at right tackle. And again, it goes back to the Joe Alt thing. If you just drafted Joe Alt, you wouldn't have had this problem. You had Joe Alt at left tackle, Paris Johnson Jr. at right tackle, in a league where everyone needs 2 tackles now. So it's a little concerning. Jonah Williams, he has not looked good, sharp, versatile in any way. And I think we're going to be talking about that being the weak link on the offensive line. And with a quarterback in Kyler Murray who has a history of missing games, you got to keep your right tackle spots up and standing and away from the quarterback. And when watching Jonah Williams, man, it's concerning. We'll check back in with the Arizona Cardinals on Friday, but I just wanted to take the time to be able to explore some of the things going on with the Cardinals. Overall, has my opinion changed on the Cardinals being a 10-win team? I don't want to overreact to training camp until we see at least a preseason game. But from what I've seen, it's a lot of positives, and really the only negatives have been injuries. And if that's your only negative and you can't really control that, it's a pretty good place to be for the Arizona Cardinals. And so if we're saying, could the Cardinals be a 10-7 team this year? Are you leaning towards more them being? Am I leaning towards them being more of a 11-6 team or a 9-8 team? From what I've seen in training camp, this team looks more like an 11-win team than a 9-win team, which is where you want to be. You don't want to feel worse in a training camp, not better. So we'll see what preseason has in store for the Cardinals. I'm excited to see some of these guys play, especially Darius Robinson and Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll talk about preseason probably next week. Should they play starters? Should they won't play starters? Hint, they definitely should, but we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, also guys, just want to remind you guys, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. Ben Garcia show. Thank you so much for continuously making this show happen. This doesn't happen without you guys in the chat. I think his name is Jackie. If I screwed that up, sorry. Whittingham, Aaron as well, Steve, Saul, you guys are consistent. Guys, you continue to be here. We get that consistent 15 live viewership a show, and I'm just thankful to have those guys. We're going to grow this offseason. This is going to be the year, I'm manifesting it, where we are going to explode the Ben Garcia show. The Cardinals content, the Suns content, the Sun Devils content, A little bit less the Diamondbacks because they're not fun to watch anymore. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. And I will see you guys on Friday at 7 a.m. But until then, for myself, Benjamin Garcia, it's been the Ben Garcia Show. See you guys on Friday.